So let's start. So welcome everyone. First, maybe we should make a summary about what OneConf is and how it works right now in Oniric. So OneConf is part of the default Oniric installation. So the idea for OneConf is to be able to register multiple computers to some kind of online storage, and then get back, making some diff between the computers and know what is installed or not between computers and having some kind of configuration set. So right now, how it works. So my netbook is probably dying right now, so maybe not the best hardware. Do you have it set up with some kind of...
Should be, yeah. Let me check.
Yeah.
Hold on a second, let me check first before...
Okay. Yeah, because my Thunderbird is already dying and all this stuff after 2
It's sick, it's not dying, it's sick.
It's sick, right. Yeah, it has
the colors
not
are
really...
Oh!
Yeah.
There we go.
So right now, in fact, OneConf can be activated in the file menu, and you just tell that you want to synchronize between your computers the current package list. Then it does some magic with apps.ubuntu.com to synchronize everything regularly. And when you go to the install view, you have your current computer as you had previously in the install view without OneConf. And then you can see the other computers that you register to OneConf. And if you click on it, you can make some diff. So this is the package that are installed on Tidus, which is a remote computer, the other one, and not locally. And then I have access to all the software center goodness. And on the other way around, you can see that I installed Clementine, for instance, on this netbook, but not on the other computer. So design is partially implemented because of some time constraint. I think that from the spec, the idea was to have, as we had in previous cycles, install all and remove all buttons, so that you don't have to go to one after another to remove or to add the same things. So they need some work on the software center side to have the GTK server things. I think you know more than me about this. So do you think that it's something which can be done easy in some kind of generic way, or?
So what exactly will you need, like a little...
Like just a little button on this line, which is here, which is remove all. And it's like all.
Yeah.
So anyone wants to commit to do it?
Yeah, showing if you have the specific design, I can work on that.
Can someone take notes on the...
Yeah, we've already started. Okay. So we can use the custom list. There's a call to install a list of packages. And, like all the code is basically there.
Okay, thanks. So of course we can stop synchronizing your current computer with just this button. One of the other things in the backlog is that right now the performance are quite not good. Basically because I load the model twice, in fact, to sort out the two categories. So I load the model, I create a filter to say this is the package of additional packages list, and then I will do the same for the removal list. So it would be good if I could just do that in one round. I wanted to do that, but as I don't know all the internals of Software Center, I didn't know about to detect the right category and to put some data in one category or in the other. Because so I based in fact my code on this one, which has all the categories, and it was asking for the model 5 times, for instance. So I just did the same, but I think it can be more effective. It was doing that. I didn't check if then you change it, but so basically every time it's try to ask for the model twice.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like that. But would it mean that the view is actually nested? That 4 items on this computer, not on the other one, and then you have like music?
This has a package. This is a
right. I mean, like if you want to have category information, would it mean that the tree is nested? Like,
I don't think that we want. You want subcategories?
no, I don't.
No.
think so. I was just.
No, I think that I'm using the category system to get those two effects.
Okay. So you would have to have a more flexible way
Yeah, to
for
populate this.
creating the tree. Okay.
So you're using the current category to do this? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess it's a matter of abstracting the tree more. Be not tied to categories. Yeah. Are you making notes about this?
Yeah.
Excellent. Alright.
Okay, so this is part of the backlog. At the latest point, which is part of the backlog, let's say that, so right now the ID of the machine is a debug ID installation. But let's say that I will install a computer, then I will have a new device ID,
Right.
and I have no way in the UI to remove another computer,
Oh,
which isn't the current one.
right.
So the code implements that. You can do that in the command line because there is a OneConf query tool, which is a command line tool for managing this. So the code supports it. We just need a way in the UI to do that.
Right, so you would basically right click and then remove, for
That
example.
seems to be the obvious one.
Right.
MPT and the ID.
Sorry, what's the question?
So the thing is that, let's say that I'm installing this computer, right? Julie's laptop computer.
You were doing what to it?
Sorry?
You were doing what to it?
Removing.
Removing.
Moving the computer.
Yeah. Removing a computer which is not the current one. Because right now I can remove, I can say I stop syncing that computer.
Right.
But if I do a new installation, I won't be able, to remove
see.
another one.
Right.
So, from design perspective, what do you think?
The same menu item. Select the menu item and say stop syncing that one. And
So, in right-clicking that, like, I will right-click on that one, and I have stop syncing.
you can have a right click as well, but the menu item that's there already should do that. Right.
It does that, but for the current computer, for the current installation.
So you select Julie laptop and it tells you stop syncing unit. It should tell you stop syncing Julie laptop. Right?
Oh.
And then should there be another item stop syncing
You know?
to shut off?
No, then you just
click
select
on
unit
this.
and say stop syncing unit.
Oh.
But that might be confusing, right?
Do they happen to show the current computer in the wireframe, and so you could always whisper that?
So, okay, so yeah, there was some kind of miscommunication about that. Yeah, I was really thinking that it was this computer, the current one. Yeah, you don't think this will bring confusion? Like, I just expect that this button is, acting on my machine and not on another one.
No, I think it's not a very common pattern, but I think it's going to become an increasingly common pattern across the node that there's a menu applying to whatever you have selected.
Yeah.
On the list.
Okay.
So do we have an action item to design it, or
No,
do we
it's-
just design it?
Yeah, I just have to
It
fix
clarifies
it.
there.
Basically, just 2 lines.
Okay.
So just add that to okay. Then, so for the future, so I blogged a little bit about some ideas of what OneConf can do and will be, great to do. So the first and obvious one, I guess, is some Ubiquiti integration. Like, so in Ubiquiti, say I have a single sign-on ID, and then you see the list of computers, and you just tell I want to install like this one. And OneConf knows about manually install package and automatically install package, so we can install only the manual one, and we can get the list in a very quick and easy way. So anyone have objections to do that?
Awesome.
That's totally what we want.
So MPT already designed that, if I remember correctly, the Ubiquiti integration. And I think just a checkbox like let's say I'm installing this computer, I want to, tell, don't add a new one, I want to, replace this one.
Right.
Okay. So this is quite straightforward, I guess. Maybe a little bit more complex because for the single sign-on, I think we want to copy as well, the TPG, the token back to the installation so that you don't have, to sign in twice, once at the installation time and one after, your first reboot. But yeah, so just add some action item to me. I think I can achieve that.
To implement it?
So yeah, so ubiquity integration, copying the SSO and OneConf configuration back in the install machine. And so there is no design task because it's already designed.
Copying the what? The
SSO token and OneConf configuration to not have to, to do that twice. Okay, so Anthony told me that approximately 6,000 users are OneConf users, so which is quite good because it's not really obvious in the UI, because the menu are hidden, and so it's it's not something which is really prominent in the Software Center UI. Do you think that it should be more obvious in a way to turn it on, or do you still think that it just it should just be the menu item and nothing more to turn it on?
I know this is a large part of your work, but in the grand scheme of things, and what your software center, it is a relatively obscure feature. I mean obscure as in uncommon feature, not as in a way, but yeah. So I don't think it really needs to be much more common than this. Okay. Certainly we can have a help page on it, for example, which we do.
So one of the other ideas is host syncing, because some people at the very beginning thought OneConf has some kind of auto syncing stuff between computers. So I thought a lot about that and how we can deal with it properly and not adding confusion, like I'm syncing 3 computers and stuff like that. So I think first thing is that OneConf shouldn't apply anything without asking the user. If we are doing that, like it's more like, oh, you have paid-in actions, do you want to do them or not? The second thing, I think we should, if you want to support this kind of stuff, like I want to synchronize this computer content to another netbook I have, is to create some kind of profiles. Like I want to name a profile which is netbook. I want to, with all also this tablet discussion and all the other devices, maybe I want to create some kind of devices and just syncing the application list between those ones. So,
I think would it work just to have groups where you don't even need to give the group a name in particular, you just drag one onto the other and then sync them down until you separate?
Yeah, the idea for a profile is to group things in a very clear way, for the user. But if you have some kind of visual, intent, like if you do something for this one, it will impact as well this one, and this one. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
So can we have an action item to you to design that?
Absolutely.
Why? So basically, I have.
I wonder if it's. I don't want to shut down the idea or anything. I mean, I like the idea. I'm just wondering, like, I guess most people have like 2, maybe 3 computers. Kind of grouping 2 items, or
so
3 is.
Just want to sync or not, basically, or not syncing at all.
Syncing is good. I'm just not sure if enabling grouping is really important for many people. I just don't know. I mean, what do other people think?
We have no statistics on it. So
Yeah, we can do statistics. I mean,
is there a way we can find out?
it's actually a good idea. We could actually try to gather some data on the available systems we have currently in OneConf and see how many machines they actually sync. this way we would know if, if it turns out that only, 1% is actually using more than 2 machines.
Yeah.
What is your use case? I mean,
This use case is George's use case, pushing for that.
Oh, okay.
Visual key question.
Yeah. He was thinking that OneConf was doing that, straight away. I don't have a strong opinion. I think that technically we can do that. There are a lot of corner cases, but I think that I addressed them in my draft. But I have no strong opinion if we should do that, if we should postpone that, or.
Right.
So let's say that we will try first to gather some stats from the apps.ubuntu.com.
Yeah.
And then decide. Well, anyway, I think that it's not something for this cycle one. So,
Right. Yeah.
so yeah, before getting LPT doing a design, let's see if it's
Just gather
possible.
some data on it.
Okay, so I'll put those action items.
Yeah. It's okay, it's clear enough for watching the work items.
I'm sorry?
It's clear enough for watching the work items?
Yeah.
Okay. So, then another part is the web UI. So, I think it will be really cool if you go to apps.ubuntu.com. Then you can log in with your SSO. You see the list of your computer in OneConf. When you select one, you can see all the packages that are installed or not. And you can make some kind of offline installation, like I add a new one, I remove the new one, and when you are back to your computer, say, oh, you have 10 actions pending. So do you think it's a cool idea, something that's worth investigating, or just some kind of geekish tool? It's some kind of online software center at the moment.
Have you thought of examples of how this would be used? Like what kind of situation would someone be in where they want to install or remove something and they're not actually
basically my idea is that a lot of people are using different operating systems. I don't know, like let's say at work they are using Windows, but they are still following the tweets and OMG Ubuntu, for instance, which just discuss about another application. They want to try it, but they don't want to write in a piece of paper. I have to try this application when I'm back home, or you don't, or maybe you are just going to some place with just a netbook which can't run games, and you just hear about a very fun game that you want to try, but you will have to wait to be back on another machine at home to be able to try it.
Right. Well, even if you have your netbook, it might make more sense for the ability to install it on your other machine to be able to do something to itself rather than having to go to a website to do it. I mean, I can imagine, for example, you see somebody playing, I don't know, World of Go on Windows, and you think, oh, that's available for Ubuntu too. I'll install it on my home machine and go to a website and say, yes, I want it on my home machine. But then when you go back to and log into Ubuntu and it says you have actions, one of those actions is a purchase, so you have to go through the purchase process straight.
Interesting. So this needs a lot of design work, I guess. Both visual one and also implementation. But yeah. So first, do people think it's something which is cool or we should support? I think we would be the first ones for this.
I've heard the assertion that many Windows users used to come to the web to find their applications, which was another argument for the web-based catalog. I don't know if the assumption is they'll do that from their Ubuntu machine or
from Windows on
I mean, the concept of installing an application on another machine from the web is, I don't know, people get it?
Like, can we get it or?
No, would people understand?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or would it be this niche thing? Different lines.
From what I understand, for you, there is a use case for this.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly interesting. I'm not saying nobody's using it, but how many people use it?
Well, we need the online software center guys.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that no one from Italy is here.
For me, I don't know if this is possible, but a real interesting use case would be about just pulling settings for it. So say you have a game installed already on 2 systems, but you maybe have a keyboard layout or you have save games, you know, it would be interesting if OneConf you could use that to pull that to another system, so you could have those same, you know, keyboard layout and save games for that.
I think that's more Ubuntu One, you know,
Yeah.
and the application has
It's
to
basically like,
support the Ubuntu One API.
Okay, yeah,
I
right.
think OneConf can support some settings, you know, share, but more at the system level, like the wallpaper for the user and stuff like that. But app specific should be supported by the application themselves, I guess.
Okay. So it'd be interesting in, like, OneConf provides that awareness, and you have this app on 2 systems,
Sure, we
and then
can.
somehow it would communicate with Ubuntu One saying, can you sync settings or something like that between apps?
Like you don't want every time to redo level 1 in any machine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I think this is more for the application itself, but
Yeah,
you can
yeah, no, I
think
agree.
about it. Yeah, so for the web part, I think we are quite blocked for now.
Right.
But if we do what NGT is implying, like adding the support in Software Center itself, you know, it's some kind of first step, and we can. It's basically the same that the group things that, you know, I was thinking about. The infrastructure itself won't change for supporting both. So yeah. So let's maybe start with that in Software Center itself and see next cycle if there is an intent to use that in the web UI.
How much would you actually have to change in the data models, like in the web backend API stuff?
It's not a lot.
I guess we need a new API call, like waiting for me.
Yeah. Basically, I want to get the even not one. So it's basically the same as the profile one. You ask for the packages for this machine, even if you are the source of this one. Well, now I'm just pushing it,
Right.
and then I make some kind of diff.
And if there's a difference between what you have locally and what is remote.
Yeah, and see if there are some stuff that have been removed because we need to add the timestamp to know which one was the latest action, so that we don't have conflicts in the actions. Yeah, perfect timing. So we added these 10 work items for you.
Come in the front.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, so we were talking about the web UI part, like so you can log in apps.ubuntu.com and, you know, see your machines, select one and see what is installed and, you know, pen some actions. So PT was discussing if there was a real use case. PT is thinking that there will be one if people are looking, you know, for the web, because apps.ubuntu.com has been made because people were looking, you know, for Firefox in Ubuntu, and we want them to use Software Center and, you know, not any other kind of delivery. And it will be cool, like, you know, in the UI itself, then you can say, I want to install that one. And then when you are back on your machine. So is it something that is realistic to think about for the web part? Or because I think it's a lot of work to support SSO.
Which should be queuing up installations for later.
Yeah, or removal. So only the UI part. I think that the client should do all the computation, you know, seeing what should be done and take the decision. But the web part, you know, showing the UI, showing all the machines. And
have you discussed how Software Center would find out about those queued actions when you boot up or when you fire it up?
well, every time OneConf will try to sync, basically.
Right.
But and we need timestamp information so that the client always knows that something happened in between.
Right.
But
it doesn't sound unreasonable at all.
pardon?
It doesn't sound unreasonable.
Yeah. Okay.
Have you discussed, we had talked about breaking down or opening up the
That will help.
OneConf data a bit. Have you thought about that?
I think it's linked, like you're thinking that for recommendation, for instance. So right now, basically, what is done in the backend is that I send a JSON file containing all the package which is installed, and it's just stored like that in the backend in Software Center, Web UI.
Right.
And then I, take back this blob basically and make the diff and everything. So what is needed is that when I push that, you explode the model and you populate some kind of database.
Yeah.
So you think that it's something reasonable? It's not. You don't have too many things on your list for this cycle.
There's quite a bit, but probably can fit it in. Yes.
And if it doesn't make it, it's not the end of the world. We can always do it out of cycle.
Right.
Right.
Because the protocol will support it already.
So we make sure that the client is ready.
Yeah.
So the changes on the client would need an API on the server to check
I'm not sure.
for recent actions, or?
I'm not sure, because basically what you will do is, I guess, just add the timestamp for every actions.
And you get the data.
And I will just get the data, and instead of just pushing, for this computer, the data, I will first get that,
Right.
make the computation to decide what should be done, and then I will push back.
I think
so basically you have...
Yeah, it's easy for the server to promise then, because, we don't need to provide changes in the API. And
No. Just the way maybe when I push things, because like remove package, I don't think that we want, to add to the list forever.
Right.
So the next time I push a new list, you remove all the remove package, and basically, you don't have. You just populate with what I will give you, and I will give you the right stuff. If they are removed, remove package, that means something which is pending and not done locally. And if it's not, I will remove them myself and will just push what you have to publish. I think that we should just do all the computation locally and don't rely on the server.
That's great.
So you're saying you wouldn't do anything locally to pull down this new software, you'd somehow do a push?
Sorry?
No, the client would pull down the data
Oh, okay.
when the Software Center starts up, I guess, not on boot, but on
So next
startup.
time we start Software Center, we check for pending installations or something.
Pending action could be installed.
So we need a design for these pending actions. I don't know if you want to pop up something or just add a bar. Now OneConf is only starting when you go to the install view. I'm not sure if you want to pop up some things like in the main page or.
Maybe a bar. Like Firefox is doing it when it needs restarting, or like the bar we are popping out at the bottom of the view that seems like no pop-ups.
Yeah. Just that OneConf will have to start earlier than what that's one.
It will only start once you select it to sync once, right? So
Yeah, sure.
and otherwise it will not have any negative effects whatsoever. So and we start it delayed so that we don't repress on startup time. So that's good.
And then everything like the syncing as well is not done when OneConf is starting. It's done like 20 seconds after, so that we can have first data. And if something is updating, then it's updating automatically without restarting. So.
Is there some plan to have a daemon component of the Software Center? Doing things kind of once a day or on startup?
For OneConf?
I mean, for OneConf it would be handy so that people don't expect the app to be available on the desktop when they fire up their computer then, and they actually need to start the Software Center for it to be installed. But also if Software Center is working hard to bring startup time down, and one of the things you're having to do is populate this database and search and set up a tree. If you could do that on a periodic kind of basis in a daemon, that might be one way to push work out of the startup time.
Right. There's some interesting stuff going on here.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
on it already?
database essentially that works with a sort of monitor which keeps like the install state synced, and it checks like when you add new repositories, it will add the new packages to the database. So
Yeah, that's cool.
That's cool. So the last part is not related to Software Center exactly, but it's user system settings syncing. So you remember, I guess, from the discussion in a long time ago, it was in Brussels, I guess, for the first OneConf session, and we talked about, it would be cool if we can select some, system settings that we know that are safe to see in computers, like your background, your wallpaper, and other kind of data like this. And then I just discovered that Windows 8 is doing the same now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think it's still time, we still have time to release a stable version before then. So anyway, this won't use Ubuntu.com, I think that should use Ubuntu One. But that triggers interesting question like Software Center SSO is using ratings and review, SSO, which is kind of different, not exactly the same as the Ubuntu One SSO. And so OneConf will have two SSO,
So,
like two credentials.
right. But it's using the same Ubuntu SSO API, right?
Using a same API. Wasn't it using a token that already existed? Wasn't it using the same name of the token if you had one in the keyring already?
For Software Center, you mean, or for Ubuntu
Yeah.
One?
For Software Center. The one, if you had already signed them for ratings and reviews.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
We are using exactly the same one now.
Right.
The thing is that would it make sense, to use still the same token to access to Ubuntu One?
Oh, right.
Well, the thing is that in order to, you create a Ubuntu One account, you have to click that you agree to their terms and services.
Okay.
But I don't know. Maybe this is insane, but we could have like a limited Ubuntu One account where you can't actually where all that is provided is just enough capability of file syncing so that we can store our data, and then if they want to become like full Ubuntu One members, then it's all ready.
And it will still use
We would still use
Software
the same
Center
token.
credential.
Yeah. Maybe it's something that we can get in touch about with the Ubuntu One guys. How we can streamline the process. Because obviously having to sign into two different
Yeah, it's not the best
credentials
experience.
is not a good user experience. Could we on the ratings and reviews and Software Center agent side accept Ubuntu One tokens?
I think so. I don't see
Because,
a reason not to.
In some ways, the Ubuntu One token is kind of stronger because we had agreed to this terms of services, and then we still would, people would still have to use just a single sign-in.
Yeah, I need to check. I think the name of the token isn't critical there. You
Right.
could use a valid SSO token, just with a different name. It would be interesting. The thing is, I don't know if it's unreasonable to expect the user to enter their SSO login more than once. Ideally not all that often, but if you're going into purchase and you're going to enter your credit card details, you might want to be asked for your user and password again.
Right.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be for a technical reason, more for
I guess, if we had, if you had to, in total, enter your password twice, once when you do your first review, and once when you sync your machine, that wouldn't be the end of the world.
At least that's the first step.
Yeah,
then see-
exactly.
At the moment, you have to enter your login twice.
No.
But if we add the system
Yeah,
settings
Ubuntu One.
syncing, in Ubuntu One.
Right.
So, well, to be honest, I'm not sure to have the time to deal with this one, this cycle, with all Unity and the other maintenance stuff.
We can do tests. We can test with the ratings and review API. Try with your Ubuntu One token. It might just work.
Interesting idea, yeah.
So yeah, maybe you can prepare the field for the next cycle. So I think it's not a lot of work, but we have to decide exactly which settings that are safe to sync between computers and are relevant to people. We need to make a UI, to decide I want to enable this one, this one, this one, and like my user information, not this one. So there are, I think there are some design research needed on that as well, to decide what to sync and what is relevant for people to sync and how to group things in the UI so that they can sync or not those data.
What stuff do you have in mind? Like wallpaper is an obvious one.
Yeah.
Stuff like keyboard preferences.
Keyboard preferences, language.
Language, right.
Well, there is another discussion about using Ubuntu One, to log in to your computer, so this one will be a little bit less relevant. But, it was the idea to have the same tokens as well, the same credentials. So it can be cool because, you just have to do something once and then you have it everywhere. Especially for boring stuff like getting access to credentials, memorize passwords. But I'm just, thinking about the system settings, not application-specific features that should be implemented by the applications themselves. So I think that can be cool. But yeah, so let's say for this cycle we can experiment a little bit. On the design side, we can discuss a little bit about the ideas, and not sure if you will have time to make some research or.
I can probably chat about we can arrange some.
Do you see a strong intent to have that, a strong use case, or do you think that people will like that, or just
They're seeking your settings? I think they would. Well, it would depend on the settings, but yeah, I can imagine it being a track.
Okay. So I think that was this on my list, basically. So it would be cool if we can have the web UI. I'm excited about that one, in particular. To sum up, so Ubiquiti integration should be straightforward to do.
This is actually what I'm most excited about, Ubiquiti integration.
It's not a lot of code, it's already supported.
Right.
So yeah. Host thinking just says that we don't see any strong use case for that. Having profiles and.
Well, thinking is great, but
yeah.
Profiles, we get some data. So what we would like to have is we would like to get some data on the people who use OneConf, how many systems they actually sync.
Right.
If it's one,
on
two,
average.
three.
Right. How many apps they have installed?
Just totals like like 99, well, 75% have 2 machines, 10 have 3, and I don't know. Because grouping makes only sense when we were talking about groups and profiles. Machines. That of course makes only sense if you have actually more than 2 or 3 machines.
Thinking about that, it's a little bit more technical, but the ID you are using is ID I passed to you, and it's unique for everyone or for every SSO login. The ID I'm using for the host ID is
machine to ID, right?
Yeah. So it's unique for everyone.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not per user. It's not unique per user. It's unique in the database.
You're asking about the restriction in the database?
Yeah.
I need to check that.
Okay. Because we had an issue last cycle.
I'm not sure it's even unique per user. I don't think it's. I think we didn't enforce anything in the database.
Okay.
Because, what if you have a machine with the same UID as?
Yeah. Well, normally it's
somebody
supposed to be unique all over the world,
but it's not really a problem to a system. The worst thing would be if somebody has 2 machines with the same UID. They're installing an app on one, would install it on the other, and things.
OneConf deals with that quite nicely because it happened.
Wow.
Yeah, we had an issue in beta 2 where everyone had exactly the same debug ID. So apparently it just showed nothing, like, okay, this is your current computer and don't look at the other one. So it was some kind of unexpected stress test. It seems that apps that Ubuntu.com still works, so...
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking this question. Okay, so I think that's all for my list. Do anyone have any crazy ideas of other stuff that we can do? Things that are relevant to this topic?
How's the client looking in terms of workload for integrating all this? Did Roxas going to?
I mean, I don't know, we have a lot of stuff we want to do, but
There's a lot on the road.
at the same time,
Yeah.
So is there any plan to make apps.ubuntu.com match software center?
No, not. I mean, that was the initial plan. Then we said, okay, so when we watch apps in numeric, you should have the numeric look. But it turns out the design team is going to spend a couple of weeks looking at apps.ubuntu.com. So it might be not one thing or the other. It's going to have a look of its own,
Okay.
which is going to be shiny.
Cool.
So I think they aren't going to make it emulate the software center in either district state.
Okay, great.
Do we know who would need to be talked to about the Ubiquiti integration? Or
I already talked about Evan and I will do the work. It's
excellent.
basically it's not a lot of work, to be honest.
Awesome.
It was planned to do that from the start, so
great.
okay.
Great plan.
So I think that's a wrap. Thanks everyone.